Hello, welcome back. My name's Ross and I chat to YouTube creators here in the UK about what it's like to start and grow a YouTube channel. I'm chatting to Abby in a sec and she's building a really interesting channel. She started the business and then created a YouTube channel to show the ups and downs of what it's like to be a small business owner. She's really open about the money that she makes and it's a really good look at what it's like to actually start a business. She's going to explain it much better than I can, so let's jump into the call. Hi Abby, thanks for coming on. I think the best place to start then is, what's the business that you're growing?
So my small business is based around my art. So I basically design cute, fun stationery. I love stationery, but I find it can be quite bland and boring in everyday like supermarkets and stuff. So I thought I would try and put my own artwork on there. I make things like stickers and notepads and pencil cases. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So how did you get into that then?
Well, I started art around 7 years ago. I think I was like 16 years old when I started drawing. And I actually started drawing because I used to watch a lot of YouTubers who would draw and they inspired me to start drawing myself. And I thought after a while, like I was getting quite good at art, and I noticed a lot of these YouTubers had their own like small businesses and stuff, which again inspired me because art was just a hobby when it started, but it kind of evolved over time, and I was like, I kind of want to do something with it because I'm so passionate about it. And I was like, this, if I could make art my job, that would basically be my dream. So I started just researching into all the ways to make a small business, and after a couple of years I finally got the courage to do that.
So when did the YouTube side come into the picture then? So you started the art about 7 years ago. How long was it when you were watching YouTubers and you thought, I'm going to give this a go?
Well, we're about to go on a bit of a journey with that because surprisingly, my YouTube channel actually was something that I wanted since I was 14 years old. It actually came before all of the art and everything. When I was 14, I remember like, rather than coming home and like watching Cartoon Network and stuff and cartoons, I would actually go straight onto YouTube and I'd watch people play like Minecraft and The Sims. And back then I didn't really know like people made a living out of it, but I just absolutely I lived and breathed YouTube pretty much. And I kind of after a while was like, I want to start making videos because I think for me, like I never really enjoyed TV shows and movies that much because I think in a way I felt kind of disconnected from them, whereas with like YouTubers I always felt like they're quite like they're in your reach sort of a thing, like they feel like just people on the, you know what I mean? It felt like more close-knit, and so I kind of decided I wanted to, like, it inspired me. I was like, I want to make videos as well. I want to like make people smile and stuff. So when I first started to want to do YouTube, I actually wanted to do Minecraft videos and play games and do The Sims and stuff. That was many years ago, and I actually did end up starting a YouTube channel. We didn't have a lot of money back then, me and my family, but my mum got me a really cheap computer that just barely managed to run The Sims, and I started doing videos. But my family, I don't know how they found this. They tell me that it was just coincidence, but I swear to this day that my mum told them that I started doing YouTube videos because they found my channel, and typical family fashion, they kind of made fun of me for it a little bit. It's something that people, especially like back in 2014, you didn't really come across people who were like talking to camera that often, not as often as today anyway. So they kind of made fun of me a little bit for that, and I ended up posting videos back then, but it never kind of went away for me. It was always something that I really wanted to do. I even after I stopped, I just would always think about it. I'd always pretend like when I was playing video games or just walking around the house that I was making YouTube videos. It never went. And then when I started my small business and stuff, I realized I'd kind of switched from watching like gaming YouTubers and stuff to like watching art YouTubers, and I realized when I started my small business I really wanted to document that, because when I first started YouTube I was kind of realizing that there wasn't a lot of small businesses on YouTube that were showing their journey from the very beginning. And when I was starting my small business, all I wanted was to watch people who were also starting a small business because it was inspiring. It kind of made me feel a little bit less alone. And I think out of all of YouTube, I found a couple of videos where people kind of showed the beginning of starting a small business, but they never kind of followed on with that journey. It was always like, I started a small business and you wouldn't hear about it after that. So I kind of wanted to slide in there and be someone that people could maybe relate to.
So do you think when you were thinking of business ideas, the YouTube part was always going to be part of it? Was that always in your mind?
Yeah, definitely. YouTube was, it's, I don't want to say it's bigger than my small business, but it doesn't, it kind of means a little bit more to me because it's, I think if I went back and like talked to my 14-year-old self and was like, oh, I do YouTube now and I even make money from YouTube, I think I would have like blown my own mind. I think I would have been so happy. But if I told her like I started a small business around art, she'd probably be like, I don't even draw. What are you talking about?
For anyone that hasn't seen your channel then, obviously you talk about growing your small business, but what are the videos like? What would people expect to see in the videos?
So I basically just do vlogs documenting everything about growing a small business. I try to be as open as possible with like how I'm feeling, like what kind of money I get. I try to make videos around even weeks or days where I get no orders and things are looking a little bit down, but I also try to document like the sides of it that are really awesome. Like when I made like £200 at my very first one of my big market stalls that I did last year, was the first time I'd ever made that kind of money, not even from YouTube at that point. So it was massive for me, and I actually ended up like crying because I was so happy. And I tried to share both sides of it because I don't want to be too negative. I don't want to do these videos and for people to think like, oh, starting a small business sounds really stressful and horrible, because it's not. I kind of want that balance of like, it's really fun and amazing things come from it, but also sometimes bad things do happen, but it also doesn't mean that that's the end of the world. It can lead, having bad days or having bad weeks can also lead to really good stuff in the future.
So were there any channels that you sort of looked at around that time and you thought, I want to be like those channels? Or any channel that kind of inspired you to kick off and get going?
Yeah, definitely. So there's this channel called Bailey J. She was an artist YouTuber, and that's kind of how I started getting into art, because I remember I'd watch her videos all the time, along with a lot of other art YouTubers. And after a while, she kind of switched from doing art videos to focusing more on like vlogs and small business stuff. And I think that was kind of the click in my head for me, where I was like, oh wait, you can actually like make a lot of money off your art. Like it doesn't have to just be a hobby. Like I could actually turn this into like a job and do it for a living. So I think she was definitely quite a big inspiration for me, because like even just from like being an inspiration for starting art and getting into that, she was also the inspiration for me wanting to start a small business. So
obviously, so you started YouTube when you wanted to make like gaming videos and stuff. When you wanted to start this second time around, did anybody give you the kick and be like, when you should start this again? Or was it completely off your own back? You just thought, you know what, it's time, I'm doing this again?
It was definitely off my own back. I actually did not tell, I think I told maybe my mum and my boyfriend at the time. I did not tell anyone else about it. I was actually very scared to tell people about it, because what happened like back when I had started a YouTube channel many years ago, I remember my family, in very family fashion, it wasn't meant to be cruel, but they did kind of poke fun at me a little bit. So I guess I was a little shy to kind of be open about it. I think when you start a YouTube channel, you're very vulnerable in the sense that like if you're not already successful, you feel very vulnerable because people will put you down for it. Or you might think they might put you down for it. It's kind of like if you don't have the success to show, you feel like you feel just a bit more vulnerable. But because I never stopped thinking about it, it was just something always in the back of my head, and I don't really know what happened. I can't really remember if it was like something that just clicked one day, but I just kind of got sick of thinking about it all the time and not doing it. I always remember like from being like 14, from the age of like 22 when I started my channel, I would always like think to myself, where would I have been if I hadn't have stopped? And that always used to bother me so much, because it's not fun to think that way. it's kind of like a downward spiral mindset of like, if I hadn't have quit, then who knows where I could have been. I could have had 1 million subscribers, I could have been, living it up, blog, I don't know. But it was kind of like, I felt like I had more than the fear of being made fun of or like being poked at or people seeing me fail, I was more scared of just never trying and never seeing where it could go. So it was less of like being pushed to do it and more of like, I'm more scared that I'll let this opportunity slide over being scared that people will make fun of me for it. So
yeah, if I don't try it in 10 years time, I'm going to be really disappointed in myself that I didn't just give it a go. And that's one of the toughest things about YouTube as well, is that you're learning in public. People are going to see you when you're awful right at the start. And as your family are going to see it right at the start, and your brothers and sisters and cousins might make fun of you. And then as you get a bit bigger, people at school might find it, or college, and then you've got to go through the same thing again. And it doesn't end there. When you get older, people where you work are going to find it, and it doesn't go away. So you might as well just get used to it and just own it. Just roll with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think when you're a teenager, especially, like, everyone's opinion just matters so much to you, and it's like you've got to please everyone. But I think as I grew older, I was kind of like, I don't really care that much anymore. I would rather know and see how far I can take it and just do what I love as well, even if it failed, even if I never got that many subscribers or made money from it. Like, I've always liked making videos. I did like film and TV in college, so I've always loved video editing and stuff. So I kind of, growing up, I did get out of that mindset of like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm weird. And I'm now just kind of like, well, if people think I'm weird, I don't really care, because I like what I do.
Yeah. For the business side of things then, did you know anyone that was already running a business that you could ask for advice, like any family or friends that were self-employed or entrepreneurs?
No, not a single person. I actually come from a family that's they're very supportive with my small business. They do know about it. They're very supportive, but they're all managers and office workers and military. So me being the kind of standout artsy small business person in the family was kind of a shock. I remember when I was like, hey, I'm going to quit my full-time job and start a small business, they were all kind of like, why? They've always been supportive. They've never like discouraged me from doing it. But they were just, I think it's just something they're not used to, I guess. They're all kind of just used to having stable jobs. I'm definitely a little bit of a black sheep of the family, I guess. I definitely stand out in that sense. But funny enough, I didn't even have friends that did like small business or anything. But since I've started a small business, there have been a couple of my friends and like even my boyfriend and stuff that have started like trying to start small businesses because I've done it. I think having a small business, it's a little bit, it's scary to start, especially if you don't know anyone that does it already, because you don't have anyone to talk to about it and you don't know if it's going to work and you have no idea what you're doing. Like I've never done like anything to do with business. The most I could do was like edit a video and draw art. I didn't actually know anything about like setting up an Etsy shop or anything, so it can be quite scary. But I think because I started a business and people are starting to see like, wow, she's actually like making a bit of money from that and she's actually going somewhere, and even though it's taken like a year and a half, it is growing. And I think because people have seen that, it makes them less scared to go out and start doing like their own businesses and stuff. So it's kind of like a domino effect.
Just to paint a bit of a picture of the timeline then, because you just touched on it a bit. So did you come out of uni and then straight into the business, or was it out of uni into work where you were thinking about the business and then the business?
So funny story, actually. I did leave university and go into a job for about 3 weeks before I decided I'm not living this life. I was a call center for a airline, just helping people like book holidays and stuff, and I hated it. The first 2 calls that I had in that job that weren't training were like people screaming down the phone at me, and I was like, can I actually do this for the rest of my life? And I was like, I can't. I remember I actually hung up on someone and I called my manager on a video call and I was like, I'm leaving, I can't do this. And I think that same day, because I was very lucky to have a lot of savings from university and stuff, I worked a couple of jobs. So I had bit of money back behind me. So that same day I bought a camera and I was like, I'm doing YouTube. I guess that was kind of the push for me to start YouTube as well. It was like, I have had a taste of what a full-time call center office job is like. I hate it. This is the better time than ever for me to start doing YouTube and grow a small business.
I remember my first job. The team that I was in got disbanded and they put us all into customer service. I was there for like 2 weeks. I was like, that's all, folks. That's the last of see of me.
It's soul crushing, isn't it? Like, I know so many in my family have done it before, so I was like, well, what's stopping me from doing it? Like, if they've done it, like, it can't be that hard of a job. But honestly, my whole heart and admiration goes out to anyone who's like in a call center job that they don't like. It is soul crushing, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, if I don't start my small business and do YouTube, like, that's where I'm gonna be pretty much for the rest of my life. And I was like, maybe it was a horrible job and maybe I got yelled at for a little while there, but at the very least it kickstarted something much better. So it was quite I remember when I was like doing that job, it was quite even though it was short, it was quite a hard time because I would cry a lot. And I think it was one of those things where I realized that I had kind of given up on like YouTube and a small business and everything, to go to university and like, to get this call center job. And I was like, I can't believe I've given it up for this. And it was quite a hard time, but it did kickstart all of this. So I can't be too mad at it. I think I needed that low point in order to finally get my butt in gear and give YouTube another shot.
Yeah, that does bring us back around to like the business side of things then. So what do you think was the hardest part about just getting started?
Probably not knowing what I'm doing. I mean, to start a business, you need to have some idea of how a business runs. And unfortunately, I had no clue. I pretty much was like, I can draw and I can kind of do social media. I can edit videos and stuff, but I actually have no idea what I'm doing in the sense of like, how much should products be? What manufacturers should I go to? It was a lot of learning. I started the whole process of trying to set up a small business. I think it was in July, and I didn't actually open my Etsy shop till September of that year. So that was like 3-4 months of just like trying to get trying to get my business set up and trying to learn everything I could about it. So it was quite a long time of just researching.
So that's nearly 2 years now, isn't it? 2 years next month, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you find that you get a lot of people coming to you for advice now? You say that some of your friends and family have started to start a business.
Yes, definitely. I'm always being asked how can I get set up on social media? Like, how can I do packaging? Can you tell me more about shipping? And to be honest, I help when I can, but I think it feels a bit weird because I'm like, I've been doing this for 1.5 years, but I still feel like I've got so much to learn in a sense. I think when people start small businesses, they think that they should know everything straight away and that they're going to be perfect straight away. But like, you're actually classed as a startup business for the first 3 years of having a business. That's still a new business. You could be 2.5 years old and you're still classed as a new business. And I think that's a really good estimate to show how long it can actually take for you to get to grips with what you're doing, even if it's just learning like how to ship and learn about customs and stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a case of like drawing stickers or like designing stickers and then putting them on Etsy. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like even down to like taxes and stuff. Like I'm still learning all about that stuff. So I do try to help like people where I can, but I also like to reiterate even in my videos that I'm still learning quite a lot. And like, I think the best way to learn as well that I tell everyone is like, I can sit here and be like, oh, do this and do that. But the best way for anyone to learn is to actually just do it and make the mistakes.
When it comes to like YouTube and the business then, like what's like the last week look like? What's a week in your life like? How much time is on the business? How much time is on working on YouTube? How does the time get split?
Pretty much when I'm not at work, I'm working on my small business on YouTube, and I very often like to say in my videos and stuff that I don't necessarily condone that kind of lifestyle, just because I do get quite tired a lot. But because I work a full-time job, I don't have a lot of time. Like if I didn't work when I wasn't at my full-time job, I probably wouldn't be able to get as much done. I'm a bit better for it now. When I started my business, I actually used to work, it's not this job, but like before that I had this job, I had a like 5-day-a-week job, just at the end of last year. And I would literally come home from like an 8-hour shift and work from like 5 o'clock till about 10 o'clock and then go to sleep and wake up at 6 a.m. and be back at work, and then the same thing would repeat. So it's not the best life work balance, but I am a bit better for it now, in terms of like I try to make sure like that I have cut-off times when I'm working. So I usually edit my videos Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday after work and get my thumbnails done. I always say to myself, no matter where I'm at with the video, even if it's behind, I have to start working at 7:30. And then that gives me a couple extra hours on the nighttime to kind of relax and do me stuff. And then on the weekends, it's all just vlogging, and Thursdays, Fridays is usually just like drawing and stuff. So it's quite a hard life. It is like working 3 jobs because I have my full-time job and YouTube and my small business. So it is a bit hard, but I do quite like what I do at the same time. I think the reason I was so bad at taking breaks at the beginning of it was because I just liked what I was doing so much that I didn't realize I was getting so tired all the time, and I didn't realize I was getting burnt out. But now that I acknowledge that, sorry, my cat is meowing outside the door. Really distracted me. But because like I acknowledge that like that was a really bad way to live, I'm now able to kind of just incorporate more breaks into it. Like, yeah.
And it's not like the short videos either. They're like 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes longer. Like when you sit down to edit, how many hours of footage do you think are in front of you?
This is shameful. It's horrible. It's usually 5 to 6.5 hours of footage. The reason being, a lot of that can be like sped up because I do often like integrate kind of like just silent music-y kind of sections in my videos to break it up. So it might just be like an hour of me drawing and stuff. But I think that's why my videos take so long as well. I talk too much. I don't know when to stop talking. And I realized when I started doing YouTube that if there's no one there to stop me from talking, I will talk about the same point for 20 minutes in a row. And I'll sit there and I'll edit it and I'm like, what am I talking about? Stop talking. So a lot of the editing is like self-inflicted pain. But yeah, it's usually like 5 to 6.5 hours of footage.
Yeah, I find that doing these interviews, it's a YouTuber thing. Like the job on my side, I think let's get everyone back on track because the amount of tangents that just get gone down. But most of your videos are like following you around doing your business stuff. So do you just have to film all week and then find the story at the end, or do you have a plan for the week? This is what I'm going to be filming this week.
So I usually try to go in with a bit of a plan, just because I think with vlogs especially, it's very easy to just kind of like, it can get quite boring, I guess. Like it's how often do people want to see me just sitting down and like eating food or like drawing or something? I don't want my vlogs to get too repetitive because with a business as well, I find that a lot of what I do is quite repetitive. Like I might be making stickers one weekend, but maybe I didn't get enough stickers done. So then the next weekend I'm just making stickers again. So it's like I can't really have 2 vlogs in a row that are just sticker making without anything interesting going on in between. I try to plan them out in a way that I'm like, okay, in the morning on Saturday, I'll do some sticker making, but then after that I'll make some like cups or something, or I'll maybe discuss like an issue I've been like facing lately. So I try to go in with a plan. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes I because my vlogs rely so heavily on me doing small business stuff, sometimes I get to like the weekend and stuff and I'm just too tired and they can be a little slow and boring, and maybe like I don't get enough work done, or I'm just procrastinating a lot, which I find is a problem for me, like because if I'm sitting there and I'm just procrastinating the whole of Saturday because I'm tired or whatever, then I don't get much footage for the vlog. And that's when I kind of come across an issue that I have often, where it's like, should I just continue the vlog and post it anyway so I have content for that week, or should I just skip that week and just not post anything? Like, it's kind of hard to know which one's the better option.
You're quite consistent with your posting. Is it one video a week, and then is it that the goal, one video a week?
One video a week, yeah, every Thursday.
Because I saw you tried shorts as well. Do you just not fancy doing shorts? Because I find them really difficult as well.
Yeah, I actually did quite a few of them back when I first started YouTube, because I remember I was actually getting told, I used to, when I first started YouTube, I was constantly watching people making videos on like how to start a YouTube channel and like what you should be doing and what to avoid and all that stuff, and everyone was like, you need to focus on shorts. TikTok's really popular right now, people want short form content. So I was like, guess I'm doing shorts. But the problem is I didn't know what to do shorts about, because I was like, well, what can a small business do shorts about? Like, I don't know, like a lot of what I do feels quite long-winded. So I tried my hand at them and they just didn't seem to really work out. And I actually ended up deleting a bunch of them. I think I've only got one short on my channel currently, but I try to, if I had something interesting to do for a short, I probably would. And I know that in today's like YouTube, like they are quite big. Like people are getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers, if not millions, off of just doing shorts. So they're definitely a big thing to consider. But I do find them quite hard. I think, again, it's because I'm such a talkative, long-winded person that I find it hard to condense down what I want to say into like 20 seconds.
They are completely like their own art form. But on the other side of that as well, you've done a couple of live streams. How come you stopped doing the live streams? Because I've dipped into them. They seem really good.
Well, I was maybe considering doing one again soon. I think the reason I stopped is just because, again, with having like a full-time job and doing videos, it's hard to also then do live streams. I do quite enjoy them. I think for me, they're a little bit harder. When I'm recording on a camera, I'm like, oh, well, if I mess up a line or I don't have anything to say, the silence is fine because I can just edit it away. It never happened. But when I'm in a live stream, I feel like this pressure to constantly talk. So they can be a little stressful. I've definitely gotten better at them and I do enjoy them. But I think for me personally, my focus is definitely just on videos. I'm definitely still in the growing stages of YouTube right now. And I feel like for me personally, live streams are more of like a way to entertain my audience that already exists rather than reaching for like more people to come to my channel. So I don't do them as often, and I think as well I don't have a really great setup for live streams. The quality for my live streams isn't great. My webcam is not the best, but I am looking to like try to get like a better setup for that so I can continue to do them in the future, because I do enjoy doing them. But I will, hats off to live streamers. It's hard work.
I really want to do live streams on this channel, but I'm also terrified at the same time. Like, it's live TV, like what could go wrong?
Yeah, I think if you had someone to talk to, it would probably be a bit easier, because if you don't have anything to say, hopefully they would have something to fill the silence.
I love to ask people about their comment sections as well, and yours are quite funny. So whenever you've got a problem in the video, everyone's coming in with advice of what, like, this is how you fix this is how you fix that. Do you enjoy like getting involved in the comment section?
It can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. I think because people, I mean, they're just trying to help. I'll always accept help from anyone, especially if I haven't fixed the problem. What I find quite funny is a lot of the times in my videos, I will fix the problem in the video and then everyone will be like, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I find it funny just because I know for a fact they haven't finished the video before they typed that, and they probably got to the end and went, oh, she fixed the problem. So it can be kind of funny, but I always appreciate the help, even if it is quite repetitive, because people are, taking 5-10 minutes or however much time out of their day to write really lengthy paragraphs of how I can fix a problem. And I've never really found like people giving advice that wasn't necessarily like warranted advice. I mean, sometimes it can happen, but it's always like, because in the video I'll be like, oh, I have this problem and I'm not sure how to overcome it, and then they go straight to the comment section and they're like, oh, here's how you can like fix it. This is like how this, you know, they're trying to help me, even if they get to the end of the video and like, oh, well, she fixed the problem. But it's nice that their first reaction is to be like, oh, she needs help, let me type everything that I know about this subject so I can help her.
Yeah, YouTube being YouTube, then there's always going to be negative comments. Do you feel like you deal with them a lot better now than you did at the start, or?
I never got negative comments at the start, and it was probably just because I think a lot of YouTubers probably don't get negative comments at the start, because if you're quite small, people, you don't usually get that many comments when you're small anyway. Like, I remember there'd be like a couple every now and then that'd be like not mean, but kind of just weird. Like, I didn't understand what they were trying to say. It was just a bit weird. But I never really had to deal with that at the beginning of my small business. I don't know if that's because I'm lucky or what, but these days I am growing like a bit faster now. I am nearing like 5K, so I am getting more hate comments, but I find them quite funny. I haven't had any hate comments that are like really rude towards, like, I don't know, like, I haven't had any hate comments that are like really aggressive and rude. They're always really specific, and I find them quite funny because there are like people who I will see over and over again commenting on like videos of mine, and they will like list like moments in videos from like months ago, and then like another moment in a video from a week ago, and they'll be like, you do this and you did that and this is like, you're so annoying and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know why you're watching that many of my videos if you hate me so much. And they're constantly, it's the same few people as well that keep coming back, and I think it doesn't really affect me because I do find that quite funny, because if I didn't like someone's videos, I would just be like, I'm not going to watch this person, I'm going to leave them alone. But I feel like the people who are leaving these hate comments know more about me than the people that actually like my videos. But I feel quite fortunate as well, because I do have such a really loving community. So it doesn't usually affect me. Don't get me wrong, I mean, no one loves a hate comment, but when I started YouTube, I was very strict with myself that not everyone was gonna like me, and that's okay. And to this day I still say that to myself all the time, even if people are vocal about it, and even if people are going out of their way to watch all my videos just so they can leave really angry comments on my videos. Like, it's okay, because not everyone has to like me, and that's absolutely fine. So I think because I had that mentality going into YouTube, it doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, all the views count towards the ad revenue and the engagement, so
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, keep commenting, keep coming back and watching my videos, you're really helping me out.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things that stops people from getting started, like the worry of getting a negative comment. But what I found is, at the start of the channel, everyone's so supportive. Like, the people that have found you early on are willing you to do well. If anything, that's when you get all your really, really positive comments.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I first started, I remember having a lot of support from people and stuff, and I think maybe that's what gets people a little bit, because when you start, you do get a lot of support, but then as the people who don't like you start to find you, you'll find hate comments coming through here and there, and maybe that kind of sets people back a little bit, because they're like, oh, it's not actually like that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are going to be people that hate me, but I think, again, if you've got the mindset of not everyone has to like you, that's fine. Even if they're really vocal about it, like, you can look past the hate comments.
In your videos, then, like, you're really honest about the money side of things. Is that something that you were looking for when sort of you were doing your research, when you were like thinking of starting your small business? Or is it something that was sort of come about by people in the comments asking for it?
People actually didn't really ask for it. It was something that I wanted to do on my own, because it wasn't something that I was necessarily looking for. But when I said, like, when I was setting up my small business, I used to watch a lot of videos on small businesses and stuff. A lot of those videos were people who were making six-figure numbers, and they'd often really reiterate that they're making six figures, and this is how you make six figures. And like, it was like, I'm just starting out. I don't think I'm going to make six figures in a year, especially with no prior experience. And I think I noticed that a lot of people, especially in the comments on those videos, were like expecting to make that amount in a year, and anything less than that can be seen as like a failure and stuff. And I think I wanted to show the money side of it, because I wanted to give people a realistic look into like, look, I'm making profits. It might not be six figures, but it's still growth. I made a video very recently about that, about how much I make a month, and it was like a big deep dive into like how much I actually make, and people seemed really appreciative of that, because I think it's very rare to find people who are talking about making numbers that are not big numbers. So I wanted to kind of do it just because I wanted people to see this is how much I make as a small growing business, but hopefully in a year or two's time I can make another video talking about how much I make, and it'll be a lot bigger, and hopefully that can help to inspire people.
Yeah, I think that's what keeps people coming back, is like just how honest you are in the videos. And people see it as like, this is all realistic. I'm not watching this thinking this is completely made up. It's a real person starting a real business, and you get to follow it through. I do want to ask about the gear that you're using now. Well, not even the gear that you're using now. It's more interested to know, what did you start with when you started filming?
I had a Lumix. I can't even tell you what kind it was. It was a Lumix. It was a very cheap camera. I pretty much went into Curry's PC World, and I went up to the guy and I was like, what is the cheapest camera you have that's actually good? I don't think the guy had been working there that long. He didn't seem to have the best knowledge on cameras anyway. And I ended up walking up with a camera that wasn't, I learned very quickly, wasn't the best for videos. It was very much a photography camera, but even then, I think, because I take product photos for my small business with that camera, or I used to, I realized that even taking photos with it was very hard to do. So I had a big clunky camera that didn't actually even have a spin around like viewfinder. I couldn't see myself when I was filming half the time. So I started with that, and that was it.
Did you have a microphone at the time as well?
Actually, I have a Blue Yeti microphone, but I got that because I've had it since I started YouTube the first time around, because I asked for it and I stopped doing YouTube, so it was in a box, and I never pulled it out until I started this YouTube channel. So I did have a Blue Yeti microphone, but unfortunately those don't fit onto cameras. It is just like a desktop microphone, so it didn't work. I haven't really used it that much, but it's nice that I have it. When I started YouTube, actually, I was gonna start doing like art videos and stuff before I moved into doing small business stuff. And it worked quite well for those kind of videos, because I was just sitting down doing art and stuff, but I haven't really used it since I made the switch into vlogs. But now I currently have a Canon G7X. I have a couple of like studio lights and stuff. You can't see it behind me, but I have like the table clamp arm and everything, and like a tripod. I have a lot more equipment now, and I've actually had quite a lot of comments since I made the switch to this camera that my videos have gotten so much better in terms of just like the different kind of views that I do, and it is down to like the equipment that I have now.
So you said you got quite a bit of experience editing as well. So what did you edit on at the beginning, and what are you editing on now?
So I edited on Adobe Premiere Pro, and I still edit on that because that was what I used to use when I did like film and TV in college. So when I did film and TV in college, you were like able to like kind of pick what you wanted to do. You could pick the more camera side of it, or you could pick like the editing focus, and I picked the editing side of it, and it was always on Premiere Pro. So I actually, because I technically had student discounts when I started my YouTube channel still for the rest of that year, I was able to get Adobe Premiere Pro for quite cheap. Not anymore, unfortunately, but because I'm so familiar with it and I really like the program, I am very reluctant to switch to anything else. I think it's a really good piece of like software for me, for what I need. I don't really need anything like too grand, but I like that if I want to add like a cool effect or something into my videos, I want to do something a little different, that I can do that, and that it gives me the options to kind of try new things as well.
Your videos now have been getting like thousands of views for like a good while now. So have you been recognised out and about yet? Maybe when you're at one of your when you're selling or anything like that?
No, actually, I haven't. I've had a couple of people on my channel say like, "Oh, are you a Geordie? Like, I kind of recognize your accent. I'm one too," which is Newcastle for those of you who are watching this that don't know what a Geordie is. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's where I live." And people will often like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I've never actually been recognized outside of the house, other than people going like, "Oh, you live in the same area as I do." I think I'm still quite small for that. I think if I got recognized in public at this stage, I'd be very, very shocked.
I think you'd be surprised. I've spoken to a couple of people that are like 500 to 1,000 subscribers that get recognised regularly because their content is focused around like a very specific area. So when they go to that area, they get recognised basically every time they go. I love asking this next question. What's your relationship like with YouTube Studio?
It's kind of like fear mixed with encouragement, I guess.
Fear with a bit of terror mixed in.
Yeah, a little bit scared of it. I love it because I like to look at my analytics. I like to see where people are like what videos are doing well and why they're doing well versus what they're not doing well and stuff. Like versus what's not doing well. But I'm scared of it because I don't like looking at my analytics because it's terrifying. Like when a video goes wrong, there's nothing worse than going into the analytics because I think if you want to grow on YouTube, you have to know when people are tuning out of your video and like how many people are clicking on your video and what thumbnails are getting people to like click through and what video like thumbnails aren't. Like it's very important, but it's also terrifying because I think when you spend so long on a video and a thumbnail, the last thing you want is to go into the analytics and see that it didn't do well. It's kind of discouraging, but there's also a lot of times where I go into YouTube Studio and like I post a video like a day ago and it's like, "Oh, it's in your top 10. It's actually doing really well right now. Well done." So it's every time I open it, I'm kind of scared, but I'm also excited. It's a lot of emotions.
Did you go in there a lot then? Is it like a couple of times a week, a couple of times a day?
I try not to go in there too much. I think there should be a balance between like looking at your analytics and taking note of what's working and not being obsessed over them. I think when I first started, I was kind of obsessed over them and I would watch my subscriber count go up and down and I'd look at my like video retention all the time, and it was kind of unhealthy because back when I was starting, obviously my videos were getting like 30 views maybe, and they weren't doing that well at that time. Because I didn't really have like a following or anything, and it was kind of discouraging in a way, but it also taught me a lot. I
actually went back and watched your first video, the first one where you were on camera. You actually seem quite relaxed on camera. Do you think that side of YouTube's come easy to you, or was it just like fake it till you make it kind of thing?
I remember the first YouTube video that I did, I wasn't actually on camera. I was just behind the camera. I was doing I think I was just talking about my graduation and like my experience doing like an animation course and an art degree. And I was just kind of drawing, and it was a voiceover. I wasn't even talking in like real time. So it was very easy in the sense of like I didn't have to worry about being on camera. I didn't have to worry about talking in real time as I was doing the picture. So it was kind of like it was kind of an easy little step into doing YouTube. It was a very simple kind of video I made. When I was first on camera, I'd say I was a little nervous, but weirdly enough, it did come kind of naturally to me, and I have a theory that it might be because I spent like 8 years of my life pretending I was a YouTuber because I wanted to be one so badly that I just got so used to like pretending to be on camera that when there was actually one in front of my face, it didn't really make a difference, I guess.
It's like it's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
So what do you think's been the hardest thing then? If that side of it came quite easily, what's been the hardest thing about being on YouTube?
Well, I think there's been different challenges like through every step of my journey. When I first got started, I think it was just getting over the fear of what, like, if it would work or not. I think I was kind of scared that it wouldn't work and that people wouldn't like my videos that much. And then I think when I started getting a little bit of like my subscribers and stuff, I think I started really struggling like with my camera that I had, my old one, the Lumix. I struggled a lot with that camera, and I often go back and I look at those videos and I'm like, I am so sorry to everyone who watched those videos. The quality is awful. So I struggled a lot with that, like, because I used to do editing in college for film and TV and not the camera side of it. I actually didn't really know how cameras worked at all. So that was quite hard, and thumbnails as well, because I'd done video editing, but I'd never done anything like, I didn't really use Photoshop that much. I had no idea what I was doing with thumbnails. So I think throughout my journey on YouTube, there's always been challenges at every different stage, but I don't know what's been the hardest out of all of them. I think they've all been at those times, they were all the hardest thing that I faced at that time.
Yeah, I think you go through so much. And what surprised me the most is how quickly you get over some of the stuff as well. Like talking to camera, it takes like 3 or 4 videos before you think you can just sit down and talk to a camera. It might not be great, but at least you're not sweating the whole way through and really nervous. But yeah, there's like so many of those little things, like editing your own voice as well. But you quickly get over that. Like, it's funny, I tell this story all the time. One of my first videos, the first couple of them, I wasn't on camera, you could just see my hands. And I thought, no one can make fun of like how I look or anything. And then people started to make fun of my voice. I was like, that's it, I'm just going on camera anyway. People are going to make fun of me. I might as well be on camera.
That's the thing, you might as well just do that. You might as well just jump into it if people are going to make fun of you, because they will. It doesn't matter if you're just a pair of hands on a screen, they will find something to make fun of, and it's just better to be yourself and put yourself out there. So
2 years in now then, what advice would Abby now give to Abby from 2 years ago in terms of YouTube?
I've never actually thought about that before. That's a very interesting question. I think I would probably say, don't expect 100,000 subscribers within 3 years, because I did kind of go in with expecting, like, I didn't know if it was going to fail or succeed, but I kind of expected it to, because again, like, you're always bombarded with like, oh, I got 100,000 subscribers in 6 months, or I made 6 figures from my business in a year. That it's kind of becomes the expectation that that's what's going to happen, and when it doesn't, I think that's when a lot of people get discouraged, and then they start to, like, they drop out of it because they're like, oh, well, I didn't get 100,000 subscribers within the first 6 months, therefore I failed, so I'm going to quit now. I think I would just kind of say, like, just enjoy the journey. Just, it's actually been really fun to learn how to use cameras. It's been really fun to learn how, like, to get to know editing a bit more and to like find my own editing style. It's been really fun to be able to kind of vlog all of these big moments. Like, I don't really go back and watch my videos that often, but I really like the thought of that. Like, if I ever did want to go back and watch myself when I was first starting a business, and if I was having a day where I was feeling a little bad about myself, or if I needed a bit of encouragement, I just like the fact that I have this like little online journal, and I could go back to when I started my business and see how far I've come and stuff. So
that brings us towards the end now then. I do just want to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
Have you got any goals for the next 12 months? Have you set yourself any?
I really would like to start branching out a little bit in terms of my videos. I love doing vlogs, but I really want to start not just being someone who's relatable. I want to be someone that people can look to for advice as well. I see a lot of small businesses doing videos on things like how they make certain products at home, or like how they, I don't know, just like little things that small business owners might ask themselves at the beginning of their journey, like kind of making tutorial kind of videos. I've had a lot of comments recently that kind of surprised me, actually. They all seem to be like kind of saying, we want to see more art in your videos, which I was an art YouTuber when I first started. Like, I did focus mostly on art. However, I stopped because it didn't seem as popular as when I was doing my small business related videos, and now I'm kind of getting people saying like they want some more of that in my videos. So I definitely want to branch out a little bit more in terms of that, because like I said, doing vlogs, especially for a small business, a lot of it can be very samey in just the terms of like, I'm just making products over and over again, especially in like certain months when like I haven't got any big events coming up. Like, I do have a convention that I'm going to be doing coming up in like July, but until then I don't really have much else that I'm going to be doing other than prepping for that convention. So I would really like to do more tutorial kind of videos and help people in that sense. And other than that, I would, in the next 12 months, I'd love to hit 10,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely awesome if I could get that.
You know, I'm going to squeeze one more question in then. So if your channel and your business keep growing as they're growing, how long is it till you think that you'll just be doing the YouTube channel and the business?
It's so hard to say, and I never ever try to set limits on these kinds of things just because it's hard to, everyone has different journeys, and this is something that I like to say a lot in my YouTube channel, is that everyone grows at different paces. You might have, like, someone who started YouTube at the same time as you might have more subscribers right now, but you just don't know when your next video is gonna like pop off, and you could get like 10,000 subscribers overnight. You don't know, or maybe it'll take a bit longer for you to grow. So I never kind of try to set expectations for myself, because maybe things will go really well and I'll be working full-time as a YouTuber in like the next year, or maybe they won't and I'll still be working my full-time job alongside it. I think the main part is for me is that I just really enjoy what I do, but I would really like it if in the next year or two that I could do this full-time. It means I can put more energy towards it. It means I can give my subscribers and like people who support my business a little bit more of my energy and like give back to them a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a strange question to ask, especially for me, because if someone asked me the question, I'm quite relaxed about it. If it happens, it happens. I'm enjoying having these conversations. If it gets any further, it's great. But I think it's important just to enjoy the journey, like you said earlier, because it's hard work. If you're not enjoying it, then you're really going to struggle.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about YouTube as well. Like, you can't just start for the money, because the money, for me anyway, it took me over a year to start seeing money from YouTube. And when it was like maybe £50. It's like you're not gonna last on YouTube from wanting the money alone for a year and a half. Like, no one's gonna wait that long if they're just after the money. So I think passion is very important if you're getting into YouTube.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a good place to end it then. I'll link all your socials down in the description. Are there any other creators here in like the UK or Ireland that you think I should try and get on and chat to?
There is, actually. There's quite a few. There is someone called, well, she's Welsh, I believe. I can't say her name out loud. It's one of those usernames that you look at. She is a small business though. Coconut tour. I'll email you.
Yeah,
I'll send you an email. But there's this small business that I think would be really awesome. She's been a small business for like a lot longer than me, and she's Welsh, and she's been growing a lot lately. She's even done, like, I've seen her going to like red carpet events and stuff like that. Like, it's really awesome to see someone who's not like, to see someone who's at a different stage than you. I think she's been a small business for like 5 years now. But yeah, I can email you a list of people that I think would be a good fit.
There we go. Subscribe to Abby if you want to follow her journey growing a business from scratch.